Welcome, weary traveler, to another night of ancient tales. Tonight, as the world settles into slumber, we journey to the heart of Norse mythology. Our story features the vigilant god Heimdall, who, in a surprising disguise, shapes the very fabric of human society. He'll visit humble homes and grand halls, leaving behind a legacy that defines the people of Midgard. This is the tale of how Heimdall created the social classes. Now, snuggle in close and let the whispers of the past carry you away. But just before we begin, if our stories help you drift off, please tap the like and subscribe buttons. In my channel, you can find Norse, Greek, and Egyptian mythology tales. Comment and tell me which myth you'd like to hear next. Your support helps us craft and shape more calm stories for fellow night owls. And now let your shoulders sink softly into the mattress and your mind drift into today's tale. The iridescent arch of Bifrost shimmered. It was a bridge of light woven from rainbows. Heimdall stood upon its highest point. His golden horn, Horn, rested at his side. He was the watcher, ever vigilant. His eyes, keen as an eagle-s, pierced through realms. He saw all that transpired. He heard the whisper of a snowflake. He heard the growth of grass. He heard the turning of a key in a distant lock. He heard the smallest breath. He had stood here for eons. His watch was eternal. It was a sacred duty. It was a heavy burden. A faint sigh escaped his lips. The sigh was almost imperceptible. It was not a sigh of weakness. It was a sigh of profound weariness. The endless vigilance had etched itself upon his spirit. His golden armor, usually gleaming, seemed to absorb the light. It did not reflect it. The colors of Bifrost swirled around him. They were a constant, vibrant spectacle. But even beauty could become monotonous. Even light could become a weight. Below him, Midgard spun slowly. It was a green and blue jewel. He could see its vast forests. He could see its winding rivers. He could see its towering mountains. He observed the tiny specks upon its surface. These were the humans. They were new to the world. They were still finding their way. Their lives were simple. Their existence was unorganized. Heimdall watched them. He saw their small settlements. They were clusters of huts. They were built near rivers. They were built in clearings. He saw their daily routines. They hunted. They gathered. They built fires. They slept. There was no specialization. There was no clear purpose. Each day mirrored the last. Each life seemed to drift. A quiet yearning stirred within him. It was a yearning for order. It was a yearning for purpose. He saw the potential within these humans. He saw their nascent creativity. He saw their capacity for growth. But it was unchanneled. It was undirected. It was like a river without banks. It simply flowed wherever gravity pulled it. He wondered about their future. Would they ever rise above mere survival? Would they ever build something lasting? Would they ever create something beautiful? He, Heimdall, had seen the rise and fall of countless ages. He had witnessed the forging of stars. He had heard the songs of creation. He knew the grand design. But the humans, they seemed unaware. They seemed adrift. His gaze lingered on a small village. A group of men returned from hunting. carried a stag. The women and children cheered. It was a moment of triumph. It was a moment of shared joy. But then disputes arose. Who owned the antlers? Who would get the best cuts of meat? There was no clear leader. There was no established rule. The strongest took what they wanted. The weakest simply accepted their lot. Heimdall frowned slightly. This was not chaos, exactly. It was more like an absence of structure. It was a void where order should be. He felt a quiet ache for them. He felt a silent wish for their betterment. He, who was the very embodiment of order, yearned for it in their world. He, who guarded the gates of Asgard, wished to see foundations laid in Midgard. The wind, a gentle whisper, brushed against his ear. It carried no words. It carried no discernible message. But Heimdall listened. He always listened. He listened with his very being. He sensed a presence. It was a familiar presence. It was a powerful presence. It was the presence of Odin, the All-Father, ever watchful, ever wise. Odin rarely spoke directly to him. Odin rarely gave explicit commands. But Odin's influence was pervasive. It was like the slow, steady current of a deep river. It guided without force. It directed without command. Heimdall felt a subtle shift in the air. He felt a gentle nudge in his thoughts. It was not a voice in his head. It was a resonance in his soul. The thought began to form. It was a seed of an idea. What if he were to descend? What if he were to visit Midgard? Not as the mighty watcher, not as the guardian of Bifrost, but as something else, as someone else, as a humble wanderer, as a quiet observer. Could he, perhaps, offer guidance? Could he, perhaps, sow the seeds of order? The idea grew stronger. It bloomed in his mind. It was a daring thought. It was a departure from his sacred duty. But his duty had become a weariness. His vigilance had become a burden. Perhaps a new task would invigorate him. Perhaps a new purpose would rekindle his spirit. Perhaps helping humanity would, in turn, help him. He looked back at Asgard. The golden spires gleamed. Valhalla stood proud. The halls of the gods beckoned. But for now, they felt distant. They felt remote. His gaze returned to Midgard. It seemed to call to him. It seemed to whisper his name. It seemed to promise something new, something meaningful. He closed his eyes for a moment. He breathed deeply. The air of Bifrost was crisp. It was clear. It was filled with the echoes of all existence. When he opened his eyes, a new resolve shone within them. The weariness had not vanished entirely, but it was overshadowed. It was overshadowed by a quiet determination. He would go. He would descend. He would visit Midgard. He would walk among the humans. He would observe them closely. He would understand their needs. He would learn their ways. And then he would act. He would introduce the foundational elements. He would lay the groundwork for society. He would help them build. But how? How would he approach them? He could not reveal his true form. His divine presence would overwhelm them. His golden armor would blind them. His voice would shatter their fragile understanding. He needed a disguise. He needed a persona. He needed to be one of them, or at least appear to be. A name came to him. It was a simple name. It was an ancient name. It was a name that spoke of wisdom. It spoke of age. It spoke of experience. Rigor. Yes, rigor. A wanderer, a traveler, a sage perhaps. Someone who had seen much. Someone who had learned much. Someone who could share. He began to transform. His golden armor softened. It faded. It became humble cloth. His keen eyes, though still seeing all, took on a gentler cast. His powerful frame, though still strong, seemed to shrink slightly. His radiant aura dimmed. It became a quiet glow. It became an inner light. His horn, G-Jaller horn, vanished. It returned to its place in Asgard. It would wait for his return. It would wait for the day of Ragnarok. For now, he needed no horn. He needed no weapon. He needed no symbol of power. He needed only his wisdom. He needed only his purpose. He took a final look at Bifrost. The magnificent bridge stretched behind him. It was his home. It was his duty. But for a time, he would leave it. For a time, he would embark on a different journey. A journey of quiet creation. A journey of subtle guidance. A journey to help humanity. He stepped off the edge of Bifrost. He did not fall. He simply descended. He descended slowly. He descended gently. He became a shimmering mote of light. He became a falling star. He became an almost invisible presence. He was heading for Midgard. He was heading for the human world. The air grew warmer as he descended. The sounds of Bifrost, the whispers of all creation, began to fade. They were replaced by the sounds of Midgard, the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, the distant murmur of a river, the faint, almost imperceptible sounds of human life. He felt a strange mix of anticipation and apprehension. He had observed humanity for so long. He had seen their struggles. He had seen their triumphs. But he had never touched their world. He had never walked among them. He had never truly understood their daily lives. This was a new experience. This was a new challenge. This was a new purpose. The weariness of his eternal watch began to recede further. A spark of excitement flickered within him, a sense of renewed vigor. He was no longer just the watcher. He was rigor. He was the wanderer. He was the guide. He continued his descent. The forests of Midgard grew larger. The mountains rose higher. The rivers widened. He could almost smell the earth. He could almost feel the cool breeze. He was almost there. He was almost among them. His landing was imperceptible. He touched down in a secluded grove. The leaves rustled gently. A small stream gurgled nearby. The air was fresh. It was clean. It was filled with the scent of pine. He stood there for a moment. He took it all in. He was rigor. He was a man. He wore simple clothes. His hair was long and gray. His beard was full. His eyes, though still holding ancient wisdom, seemed kind. They seemed approachable. He looked like any other wanderer. He looked like any other traveler. He began to walk. He walked deeper into the forest. He walked with a quiet purpose. He walked with a gentle stride. He was heading towards the nearest human settlement. He was heading towards the beginning of his new task. He was heading towards the future of Midgard. The sun began to set. The sky turned orange and purple. The first stars began to appear. They twinkled above the trees. Heimdall, now Rigger, looked up at them. He knew their names. He knew their songs. But for tonight, he was focused on the earth. He was focused on the humans. He heard the distant sound of a dog barking. He heard the faint scent of wood smoke. He was close. He was very close now. He felt a quiet hum of energy within him. It was not the energy of a god. It was the energy of a purpose. It was the energy of a mission. He continued to walk. His footsteps were soft. They left no trace. He was a shadow in the twilight. He was a whisper in the wind. He was Rigger. And he was ready. He was ready to begin. He was ready to shape. He was ready to guide. He was ready to build. The night deepened around him. The forest grew darker. But Rigger felt no fear. He felt no hesitation. He was guided by an old wisdom. He was driven by a new hope. He walked towards the distant lights. He walked towards the sleeping village. He walked towards the dawn of a new era for humanity. The shimmering bifrost faded, and Rigger stood on Midgard's soil. A cool breeze, carrying the scent of pine and damp moss, brushed his face. This world felt vibrant, wild, untamed. Heimdall, now Rigger, breathed deeply, his divine senses seeking a humble dwelling. The forest loomed, tall trees forming a green canopy where sunlight dappled the floor. Birds sang, a distant stream gurgled, and Rigger began to walk, moving like a whisper through the ancient woods, seeking a human touch. As the sun dipped, turning light golden, Rigger heard a faint crackle of fire and soft, murmuring voices. He followed the sound through thick underbrush until he saw a plume of smoke spiraling from a small, humble hut nestled among the trees. Made of rough-hewn logs chinked with clay and a thatched roof, it was a simple home. Rigger approached quietly. An old woman, Edda meaning great-grandmother, sat by a small fire, her hands busy weaving a basket. Her face was lined, her white hair braided, her eyes kind. An old man, Ai meaning great-grandfather, emerged from the hut, stooped from labor carrying wood. He placed it down and sat beside Edda, a comfortable silence between them. Rigger stepped from the trees. Ai and Edda, their eyes widening slightly, saw a tall, regal stranger unlike anyone they knew. "Greetings, good folk," Rigger said, his voice soft and clear. "I am a traveler seeking shelter for the night." Ai and Edda exchanged a hesitant glance. Strangers were rare and often feared, but this man radiated peace. "Come closer, traveler," Ai finally said, his voice raspy. "The fire is small, but its warmth is true. Our home is humble, but it offers shelter." Rigger nodded thanks approaching the fire. "My name is Rigor," he offered, not revealing his true nature. "I have traveled far and am weary." Edda put down her basket. "You are welcome here, Rigor," she said, her voice soothing. "We have little to offer, but we share what we have." She gestured to a bubbling pot of simmering roots and gruel. Rigor, who had feasted in Asgard, felt a strange, profound gratitude for this simple meal. He sat by the fire, observing their economical movements. Edda stirring the pot, AI sharpening a flint knife. Darkness enveloped the forest, the fire glowing brighter, casting flickering shadows. Rigor felt a quiet peace. They ate in silence, the gruel warm and nourishing. After the meal, AI asked, "Where do you come from, Rigor?" "Your clothes are fine. You're bearing noble." "I come from a place far away," Rigor replied, choosing his words carefully. "Beyond the mountains, a place of high halls and great wisdom." He spoke of Asgard. AI and Edda listened, their eyes wide, imagining a world beyond their forest. "And what brings you here?" Edda asked softly. "I seek understanding," Rigor replied, his gaze steady. "To learn how life is lived in its simplest, purest essence." They spoke for a while, sharing simple stories of the forest, seasons, struggles, and quiet joys. Rigor listened intently, absorbing every word, observing their resilience, strength, and quiet dignity. The first night passed, Rigor sleeping soundly on a humble bed of straw, dreaming of Midgard and its potential. The next morning, Rigor awoke early. AI and Edda were already stirring, beginning their daily routine. Edda went to gather berries and roots, AI to chop wood and tend his meager crops. Rigor offered to help. "May I assist you? I am strong and able." AI hesitated. "There is little to do," he said humbly. "Perhaps," Rigor suggested gently, "I could help with the wood. I could carry the heavy logs." AI nodded slowly. "That would be a great help," he admitted. Rigor went with AI into the forest, effortlessly carrying and stacking logs. AI watched him with wonder, having never seen such strength. As they worked, Rigor examined Ai's crude stone axe. "These tools of yours," he said, "they are simple, effective. They serve their purpose," AI replied. "We make do." Perhaps, Rigor mused, with a different stone, a different angle, the edge could be sharper, the cut cleaner. He demonstrated a subtle modification. AI watched intently, seeing the potential. That evening, after another simple meal, Rigor shared stories of stars, distant lands, and the movements of the sun and moon. AI and Edda listened, rapt, never having imagined such wonders. Rigor spoke gently, opening their minds and expanding their world. He spoke of the earth's bounty, life's cycles, kindness, community, and the inherent worth of every living thing. He saw their eyes light up, understanding taking root. The second night passed, Rigor feeling invigorated not just by food, but by the honest labor, simple kindness, and pure spirit. On the third morning, Rigor helped Edda with her weaving, showing her a stronger knot and a faster method. Etta marveled at his skill. "This will make the baskets stronger," she said gratefully. AI worked on his axe, applying Rigger's advice, feeling the improved grip and sharper cut. "You have a gift, Rigger," AI said sincerely, "for seeing things, for making things better." "It is a gift," Rigger smiled, "to share what one knows, to help others thrive." They shared their final contemplative meal. Rigger knew his time was short, his purpose almost complete. He had observed their labor, their simple lives, their enduring spirit. Before leaving, Rigger stood, looking at AI and Etta. His gaze was profound, filled with blessing. "You too," he began, his voice soft and resonant. "You embody the earth, its strength, its enduring spirit." He placed a hand on Ai's shoulder and Etta's arm. "May your hands always be strong, your hearth always warm. May your days be filled with purpose, your hearts with peace." AI and Etta felt a warmth spread through them, a quiet strength, a profound peace. They knew this was no ordinary traveler. Rigger turned and walked towards the forest edge, pausing to look back at the hut, at the smoke curling upwards, the fire glowing softly. He carried their image, their essence, their labor, endurance, quiet wisdom, simple love, and unwavering spirit. He stepped into the trees, melting into the shadows, leaving them with a blessing, a memory, a subtle shift, and renewed purpose. AI and Etta stood together, watching him go, not speaking, simply holding each other. They felt the lingering warmth, the quiet presence. They knew their lives had changed. They returned to their tasks, but something was different. Their steps felt lighter, their burdens less, their hearts fuller, their spirits uplifted. The humble hearth of AI and Etta had welcomed a god. It had shared its bounty, offered its wisdom, and received a blessing. This was the quiet birth, the true foundation, the deep root, the enduring base, the sacred beginning of Rigger's purpose. Word count, 1978. Words removed, 505. A quiet wonder settled upon AI and Etta. Rigger, the wanderer, had vanished. Yet, a new presence stirred within Etta. She felt a subtle change. A warmth bloomed deep inside her. Etta spoke of it first. Her voice was a soft whisper. AI listened with a furrowed brow. He touched her hand gently. They had lived many years together. Children had never come to them. This felt different. It was a strange, unexpected gift. There was no explanation. They did not seek one. They simply accepted this mystery. It was a quiet, shared joy. Days turned into weeks. Weeks stretched into months. Etta's form softened and rounded. Her belly grew. She moved more slowly now. AI watched over her carefully. He brought her sweet berries. He fetched cool water from the stream. He built a small, warm cradle. It was fashioned from smooth, light wood. He carved tiny, intricate patterns. They depicted the forest and its creatures. Etta smiled as she watched him work. A deep sense of peace filled their small home. The seasons changed once more. The biting winds of winter arrived. Then, the first green shoots of spring appeared. On a day touched by spring's gentle breath, Etta felt the first true stirrings. A strong, insistent movement. It was time. AI stayed by her side. He held her hand. His face was etched with concern. Yet, a deep hope shone in his eyes. Etta labored with quiet strength. The forest seemed to hold its breath. The air crackled with anticipation. Finally, a cry pierced the stillness. It was a strong, lusty sound. A new life had entered the world. AI looked down. A baby lay in Etta's arms. He was unlike any child they had ever seen. The baby was deeply tanned. His skin was the color of rich earth. His hair was as dark as a raven's wing. It was thick and coarse. His tiny hands were surprisingly large. They were already strong and calloused, a sign of future toil. Etta gazed at him. A mother's love filled her eyes. "He is strong," she murmured. Her voice was soft with wonder. AI nodded slowly. He stroked the baby's cheek. The tiny hand gripped his finger. A powerful, unyielding grasp. They named him Thrall. It was a simple name. It spoke of strength and endurance. It was fitting for this child. He was destined for a life of labor, a life connected to the earth. Thrall grew quickly. He was a sturdy child. His limbs were thick and powerful. He learned to walk early. He was always curious. He explored the forest around their home. He picked up stones. He examined fallen leaves. He loved to help his father. AI taught him many things. He showed Thrall how to split wood. He demonstrated how to carry heavy burdens. Thrall's small muscles strained, but he never complained. He took pride in his work. From a very young age, Thrall learned responsibility. He gathered firewood. His small arms carried heavy bundles. He tended the animals. He led the goats to pasture. He brought them back at dusk. He knew their names. He spoke to them softly. His hands were always busy. They were never idle. They were made for work. They were strong and capable. He embraced his tasks. He found satisfaction in effort. He found joy in accomplishment. Thrall's pleasures were simple. They were deeply rooted in his nature. He loved the taste of warm food, a hearty stew after a long day, a piece of fresh-baked bread. These things brought him contentment. He cherished rest after work. He would stretch out by the fire. The warmth would seep into his bones. His muscles would relax. He would close his eyes. A deep sigh would escape him. This was true comfort. The glow of the fire captivated him. He would watch the dancing flames. They cast long shadows on the walls. The crackling sounds lulled him. It was a primal comfort, a symbol of home and safety. He was a loyal son. He respected his parents. He followed their guidance. He was enduring. He faced hardship without faltering. He possessed a quiet strength, a deep well of resilience. Thrall was not given to complex thought. He did not ponder great mysteries. He did not question his place. His mind was practical. It focused on the tasks at hand. It sought tangible results. Ambition was foreign to him. He did not crave power. He did not seek fame. His desires were humble. He wished for food. He wished for warmth. He wished for a home. He wished for simple peace. As Thrall grew into a young man, his strength was undeniable. He could fell trees with ease. He could clear fields. He could build sturdy shelters. His body was a tool, a powerful instrument of labor. His parents watched him with quiet pride. They knew his worth. They understood his purpose. He was the foundation, the steady hand that built and sustained. He was the anchor. One day, Thrall ventured further. He sought new pastures for the goats. He came upon a small, secluded dwelling. It was nestled deep within the woods. Smoke curled from its chimney. He approached cautiously. A young woman emerged. Her name was Thur. She was a bondwoman. Her hands were accustomed to work. Her spirit was gentle. Her eyes held a quiet wisdom. Thur was beautiful in her own way. Her hair was braided simply. Her clothes were plain, but her movements were graceful. Her presence was calming. Thrall felt a pull, a connection. They spoke little at first. Words were not needed. They understood each other. A shared language of toil, a mutual respect for effort. They spent their days together, working side by side. Thrall helped Thur with her chores. He mended her fence. He cleared her overgrown garden. Thur prepared meals for him. She shared her meager provisions. They found solace in each other's company. Their bond deepened. It was a silent, powerful growth. Love blossomed between them. It was a love built on shared labor, a love rooted in mutual understanding. It was a love that promised stability. Thrall asked Thur to be his mate. She accepted without hesitation. They did not have grand ceremonies, no elaborate feasts. Their union was simple. It was honest. It was true. They built a modest home together. It was sturdy and warm. It stood testament to their hard work. They tilled the land. They raised animals. They lived a life of quiet industry. Soon children came. They were strong and healthy. Like Thrall, they had dark hair. Their hands were already calloused. They learned to work from a young age. They carried on their father's legacy. Their children grew. They had children of their own. The family expanded. They spread throughout the land. They were the farmers. They were the builders. They were the backbone of society. They were the first thralls, the working class, the foundation upon which all else was built. Their lives were filled with labor. They found dignity in their efforts. They found meaning in their contributions. Their hands shaped the world. They cleared the forests. They planted the fields. They built the homes. They provided the food. Their sweat nourished the land. Their strength sustained the people. They were loyal and enduring. They were were strong and steadfast. They did not seek power. They did not covet riches. They simply fulfilled their purpose. They worked the land. They provided for others. Thrall's descendants embodied his qualities. They inherited his resilience. They possessed his quiet determination. They carried his spirit of service. They were the silent pillars, the unseen strength. Their stories were not sung in grand halls. Their names were not etched in stone, but their legacy was everywhere. In every field tilled, in every house built, in every meal shared. They were the hands that fed the world, the feet that walked the weary paths, the backs that bore the heavy burdens. They were essential. They were vital. They were the very earth itself. Their lives were challenging. They faced hardships. They endured scarcity. But they found joy in simple things: the warmth of the sun on their skin, the taste of fresh water, the laughter of their children. They found camaraderie in shared labor. They helped each other. They supported their communities. They were a collective force, a vast network of strength and effort. This lineage continued. It stretched through generations. Each child born was a new link, a new pair of hands ready to work, a new heart ready to serve. They were the enduring foundation. Their purpose was clear: to work, to build, to provide, to sustain. It was an honorable purpose. It was a vital purpose. It was the very essence of their being. The world relied on them. The other classes would rise later. They would depend on the thralls. They would build upon their labor. The thralls were the roots, deeply embedded, unyielding. They found beauty in their simple lives. The changing seasons, the growth of crops, the rhythm of nature. They were deeply connected to the earth. They understood its language, its demands, its gifts. They were the quiet heroes, the unsung architects of society. Their strength was not in their words. It was in their deeds. Their power was not in their status. It was in their perseverance. As the sun set, casting long shadows, Thrall would often sit by the fire. Thur would be beside him. Their children would play nearby. A quiet contentment would fill their home. He would look at his strong hands, hands that had worked tirelessly, hands that had built a life, a legacy. He felt no regret, no longing for another path. This was his path. This was his purpose. He was Thrall, the first of his kind, the ancestor of the thralls, the embodiment of labor, the spirit of endurance. His story was simple, yet it was profound. It was the story of the foundation, the true strength of the world. And as the fire crackled, its flames danced. They cast a warm, comforting glow. The sounds of the night were hushed. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves outside. All was quiet. All was still. Rigger walked on. The path grew wider. It was less wild now. The trees thinned slightly. He saw more open spaces. The air felt softer here. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves. The ground was richer. It was a darker earth. Patches of green appeared. These were not just wild grasses. They looked cultivated. He saw signs of human touch. Faint tracks marked the soil. They were animal tracks, but also boot prints. Someone walked this way often. Rigger smiled softly. He knew he was nearing life. He heard new sounds, a distant lowing, the bleating of a lamb. A rooster crowed somewhere. These were sounds of a farm, a working, living farm. The scent of wood smoke wafted. It was a comforting smell. It promised warmth. It promised a hearth. It promised human company. Rigger quickened his pace. The path curved gently. A clearing opened up. Before him stood a dwelling. It was larger than the first, much more substantial. It was built of stout logs. The roof was thatched thickly. It kept out the weather. Smoke curled from a chimney. It rose steadily into the sky. This was a well-established home. Around the house lay fields. They were neatly fenced. Rows of green plants grew. They were orderly and strong. This was a cared-for land, a land that gave back. He saw animals grazing. A few sturdy cows, some woolly sheep. Chickens pecked in the yard. They scratched happily at the earth. This was a scene of plenty. A figure emerged from the doorway of the house. It was a woman. Her hair was braided neatly. Streaks of silver shone there. She wore a woven tunic. Her arms were strong. Her hands were capable. They were hands that worked, hands that nurtured. She carried a wooden bucket. She moved with purpose. She looked up then. Her eyes met Rigger's. They were kind eyes. They held deep wisdom. A welcoming smile touched her lips. She did not seem surprised. "Greetings, traveler," she called out. Her voice was warm. It was like honey. It carried a gentle strength. "You look weary, friend." Rigger approached her. He bowed slightly. "Greetings to you, good woman." He returned her smile. "My name is Rigger. I seek shelter for the night." "You are welcome here," she said. She gestured to the house. "I am Amma. This is our home. My husband, Afi, will be pleased." She led him inside. The air was warm. It smelled of baking bread and dried herbs. A fire crackled in the hearth. Its flames danced cheerfully. The interior was cozy. It was well kept. There were sturdy wooden furnishings. A large table stood in the center. Benches lined its sides. On the walls hung tools. Farming implements gleamed. Baskets of grain sat neatly. Bundles of herbs dried. They hung from the rafters. A man sat by the fire. He was mending a net. His hair was also silvered. His face was weathered. It was lined with good humor. He looked up as they entered. "Afi," Amma said, "we have a guest. This is Rigger." Afi rose slowly. He was a large man. His shoulders were broad. His hands were calloused. They spoke of hard work. He extended a hand. "Welcome, Rigger," he rumbled. His voice was deep. It was like a gentle bear. Come, sit by the fire. You must be hungry. Rigger took a seat. The warmth enveloped him. It was a true comfort. Amma brought him food. A thick stew simmered. It was rich with vegetables. There was fresh baked bread and a generous chunk of cheese, made from their own milk. He ate slowly, savoring each bite. It was delicious. Effie and Amma watched him. Their eyes were kind. They did not press him. They let him eat in peace. The silence was companionable. When he finished, Effie spoke. "Where do you travel from, Rigger?" His tone was curious, but not intrusive. "I have traveled far," Rigger said, "from the wilds beyond. I follow the paths of men. I observe their ways." Amma nodded thoughtfully. "The world is wide," she said, "and full of wonders and challenges too." They spoke of their farm, of the changing seasons, of the needs of their animals, of the turning of the earth. Their knowledge was vast. If he spoke of the soil, how it breathes, how it renews itself, he knew its every mood, how to coax bounty from it. Amma spoke of the plants, how to tend them, how to harvest them, how to store their goodness. She knew their secrets. Rigger listened intently. He observed their wisdom. It was practical wisdom, rooted in the land and in experience. They offered him a bed. It was soft and clean, made with woven blankets. He slept deeply that night, free from worry. The next morning, Rigger woke early. The sun streamed in. It cast golden light. He found Effie already working in the fields. Effie was turning the soil with a sturdy plow, pulled by a strong ox. The earth yielded willingly. It smelled fresh and alive. Rigger watched him for a while. Then he walked over. "That is good work, Effie," he said admiringly. "You know your land." Effie straightened up. He wiped his brow. "The land knows me too, Rigger," he chuckled. "We have an understanding." Rigger knelt down. He picked up a handful of earth. He let it sift through his fingers. "This soil is strong," he said. "It is," Effie agreed. "We care for it, and it cares for us." Rigger offered a thought. "Have you considered letting this field rest?" He gestured to a section. "For a season or two." Effie looked at him curiously. "Rest?" he questioned. "But then what would we plant?" "You could plant something different," Rigger suggested. "Something that puts goodness back, like certain legumes." Effie considered this. His brow furrowed slightly. "And what would those be?" he asked. Rigger described clover and vetch, how they replenish the soil, how they draw nitrogen from the air back into the earth. Effie listened closely. His eyes were keen. He was open to new ideas. He saw the logic in it. "That is a wise thought, Rigger." Amma joined them then. She carried a basket full of fresh eggs. She had been with the chickens. "Good morning, Rigger," she said. Her smile was bright. "You are up early." "There is much to learn," Rigger replied, "from observing your ways." Amma chuckled softly. "We learn from the land," she said. "It teaches us patience and perseverance." Rigger spent the day helping. He worked alongside Afi. In the fields, they tilled the soil. They sowed some seeds. He watched Amma at work. She spun wool into yarn. She wove cloth on a loom. Her movements were precise. They were practiced. She showed him how to churn butter from rich cream, how to press cheese from the fresh milk. Her hands were deft. In the evening, they ate together. The food was simple, but wholesome. It nourished the body and the spirit. Rigger shared stories of other lands, of different customs, of the vastness of the world. Afi and Amma listened. Their interest was genuine. Afi spoke of the stars, how they guide travelers, how they mark the seasons. He knew their patterns. He knew their names. Amma spoke of the moon, how it influences the tides, how it affects the plants. She knew its cycles. She respected its power. Rigger felt a deep connection to these good people. They lived in harmony with their surroundings and with each other. On the third day, Rigger offered more insights. He spoke of animal husbandry, of breeding for strength and for health. Observe the strongest cow, Rigger said. Her calves will be strong. Choose the best ram for the best wool. Effie nodded slowly. We do this already, he said, by instinct, but you put words to it. Rigger spoke of rotating pastures, to let the grasses recover, to prevent overgrazing, to keep the animals healthy. Amma spoke of preserving food, drying fruits and vegetables, salting meats for winter. Her pantry was full. It was a testament to her skill. Rigger admired their foresight, their planning, their ability to manage, to thrive in their environment. He saw their deep respect for the natural world, for the cycles of life. They were true stewards of the land. As the sun began to set, on the third evening, Rigger knew it was time to continue his journey. He sat with Afi and Amma by the warm hearth. The firelight flickered. It cast long shadows. I must leave you tomorrow, Rigger said. His voice was soft. My journey calls me onward. Effie nodded gravely. We understand, Rigger, he said. The road is long and full of purpose. Amma placed a hand on Rigger's arm. You have brought us much, she said. Your wisdom, your presence. Rigger felt a warmth spread through his chest. He looked at them both. Their faces were kind. Their eyes were full of peace. You have given me more, Rigger said, than I can express. Your home, your generosity, your wisdom. He rose then. He stood before them. He raised his hands in a gesture of blessing. May your fields ever be fertile, Rigger intoned. His voice was clear. It resonated gently. May your harvests be bountiful. May your livestock thrive, he continued, and your barns be full. May your hearth fire always burn. May your days be long, he blessed them, and your nights be peaceful. May your love grow stronger. May your children prosper, he added, and their children too, through generations unending. Effie and Amma listened. Their eyes were wide. A sense of peace filled the room, a quiet reverence. Rigger lowered his hands. He looked at them both. "You are truly blessed," he said, "and you are a blessing." Emma's eyes welled slightly. She reached out and gently squeezed his hand. "Thank you, Rigger," she whispered. Effie placed a hand on Rigger's shoulder. His grip was firm. "We will not forget you," he said, "or your words." They sat in silence then, for a long moment. The fire crackled softly. The air was still. Rigger knew he had found something here, something profound, a testament to human endeavor, to hard work, to love. He had seen the fruits of their labor, the comfort of their home, the strength of their bond. It was a beautiful sight. The next morning, before dawn, Rigger prepared to leave. Emma had packed him food for his journey: fresh bread, dried meat, a piece of cheese, all carefully wrapped in a clean cloth. If he stood by the door, he held a sturdy walking stick carved from oak. "For your travels, Rigger," he said. Rigger accepted it. He felt its weight. It was a thoughtful gift, a practical one. He embraced Emma gently. "Farewell, good Emma," he said. "May your days be blessed." He clasped Effie's hand. "Farewell, wise Effie," he said. "May your land yield richly." He stepped out into the morning. The air was cool. A faint mist lay over the fields. The sun was just rising, painting the sky with soft hues of pink and gold. Rigger looked back. Effie and Emma stood there by the doorway, watching him go. They waved slowly. He waved back. A warmth spread through him, a feeling of gratitude. He turned and walked away, down the familiar path, leaving the prosperous farm behind him. He carried their blessings in his heart and their wisdom in his mind. The path ahead was clear, his purpose unwavering. He knew where he was going and why. The world awaited him. More people, more lessons, more blessings to bestow. He walked with purpose, with a lighter step, the oak staff tapping gently on the ground. The sounds of the farm faded, the lowing of cows, the clucking of chickens, the gentle murmur of life. He entered the quiet of the path. The trees closed around him, but he was not alone. The spirit of Effie and Emma walked with him, their warmth, their kindness, their enduring spirit. Rigger smiled to himself. The journey continued, and with it the unfolding of his great purpose. The sun climbed higher, illuminating the way, guiding his steps towards what lay ahead. He was ready for the next encounter, for the next lesson, for the next blessing. His heart was open. His mind was keen. He was Rigger, the traveler, the observer, the giver of gifts. The path wound onward, through the gentle landscape, leading him forward to his destiny. Effie and Emma watched the distant figure disappear, a silhouette swallowed by the fading light of a long-past day. Their small home, a cozy haven of timber and thatch nestled against the gentle slope of a hill, felt quiet again. But this time, it was a profound, expectant silence, not an empty one. But a new feeling soon bloomed there. a tender blossom pushing through the fertile ground of their shared life. A quiet hope, as delicate and persistent as the first spring crocus, settled within Amma. She felt a change, a subtle shift, like the earth itself sighing before a gentle rain. Her body hummed with a soft, new energy, a warmth that radiated from her core and spread through her limbs. Amma knew a new life, a precious seed, was stirring within her, a truth whispered not by words, but by the very pulse of her blood. She shared the news with Afi, her voice a soft murmur in the twilight. His face, usually etched with the lines of honest toil, lit with a gentle joy that banished every shadow, a light as pure as the morning sun. He embraced her, his strong hands trembling slightly, and in that moment, the world outside their small cottage ceased to exist. They spent many days in quiet anticipation, each sunrise a step closer to their cherished wish. Afi tended the fields with renewed vigor, his stride lighter, his whistle a more cheerful tune as he coaxed life from the rich soil. The scent of turned earth and growing things mingled with the crisp morning air, a constant reminder of the life burgeoning within their home. Amma hummed soft melodies as she worked, her fingers deftly weaving baskets or preparing simple, nourishing meals. Her songs were wordless lullabies, each note a prayer, a blessing for the life she carried. Their love deepened with each passing day, a quiet, profound understanding that transcended words. The very air around them felt blessed, imbued with a gentle magic, as if the Norns themselves had spun threads of fortune into their humble existence. The seasons turned slowly, each bringing its own beauty and promise. Spring's first green shoots emerged from the thawing earth, a vibrant emerald carpet stretching across the fields, whispering of new beginnings. The air was soft and fragrant with the promise of blossoms. Summer's warmth ripened the berries in the wild thickets, their juicy sweetness a taste of the sun's bounty. The days were long and golden, filled with the buzzing of bees and the rustle of leaves. Autumn painted the leaves in fiery hues of crimson, gold, and russet, a breathtaking farewell before nature's slumber. The air grew crisp, carrying the scent of wood smoke from their hearth. Winter brought a hush, a blanket of pristine white snow muffling the world, transforming their familiar landscape into a serene, sparkling wonderland. The silence outside was deep, broken only by the crackle of their hearth fire and the soft murmur of their voices. Then, as spring approached once more, heralded by the first brave meltwater trickling from the eaves and the faint scent of awakening earth, the time arrived. Amma felt the first gentle stirrings, a faint tightening, a slow, insistent rhythm beginning to build. A quiet intensity filled their home, a sacred space where time seemed to hold its breath. Afi stayed close, his presence a steadfast comfort, his hand often finding hers, a silent anchor. He moved with a quiet efficiency, his broad shoulders a reassuring presence. He boiled water over the crackling flames of the hearth, the steam rising in misty plumes, and gathered soft cloths, their homespun texture comforting beneath his touch. The air, usually filled with the mundane sounds of daily life, was now charged with a palpable sense of anticipation. The night air was cool and still, carrying the faint, clean scent of pine. A sliver of moon, like a watchful eye, hung in the ink-black sky, casting a faint, ethereal glow. Inside, the hearth fire cast dancing shadows that flickered and swayed like ancient spirits on the rough-hewn walls. The scent of wood smoke and chamomile tea filled the small cottage. Amma breathed deeply, her breaths growing more deliberate, guided by instinct as old as the earth itself. The pain was a deep, powerful current, but she rode its waves with a quiet strength, drawing on the resilience of her ancestors. If he offered quiet, steady encouragement, his voice a low, soothing balm, wiping her brow with a cool cloth, his gaze unwavering, filled with love and unwavering support. He murmured ancient blessings, his words a soft prayer to the gods, asking for strength and a safe passage. With the dawn, a new sound, sharp and vibrant, filled the cottage, cutting through the stillness like a ray of sunlight. A strong, clear cry pierced the morning air, a tiny, powerful declaration of life. Amma held her breath, her chest rising and falling with emotion. Then a radiant smile bloomed on her face, a smile of profound relief and unutterable joy. A healthy baby, his skin still ruddy from the journey, lay in her arms, a small, perfect being. He was fair-skinned, with a robust frame, a testament to the strength passed down through generations. His tiny hands were already strong, surprisingly so. They gripped Amma's finger tightly, a fierce, trusting hold that melted her heart. His eyes, the color of a summer sky after a cleansing rain, blinked open, wide and curious. They held a deep, knowing calm, an ancient wisdom that seemed to defy his newness in the world. They named him Karl. It meant free man, a name chosen with purpose, a hope for a life unburdened and self-determined. If he looked at his son with immense pride, his heart swelling with a joy he had never known. This child, this precious life, was a gift from Rigor, the god of lineage and social order. He was a promise of continuity, a living bridge between past and future. Karl represented a new beginning, a fresh chapter in their family's story. He was the future of their lineage, the one who would carry their spirit and their legacy forward. Karl grew quickly, a sturdy sapling rooted firmly in the earth of their homestead. His childhood was filled with learning, not from scrolls or books, but from the rhythms of the land and the wisdom of his parents. If he taught him the ways of the land, the subtle language of the soil and the wind, he learned to read the sky, understanding the shifting patterns of clouds and the wisdom of the migrating birds. He understood the cycles of nature, the delicate balance of growth and decay, life and dormancy. He learned to prepare the soil, turning the rich earth with a small wooden spade. He knew when to plant the seeds, recognizing the precise moment the earth was ready to receive them. He recognized each sprout's promise, nurturing the tender shoots with care. He harvested the bounty with care, his small hands gathering the fruits of their labor. His hands, though small, were capable, already showing the signs of a true farmer. Amma showed him the crafts of the home, the quiet, essential skills that sustained their lives. He learned to weave strong baskets from pliable willow branches, his fingers surprisingly nimble. He carved small, useful tools from wood, shaping spoons and bowls with patient precision. He mended torn garments with nimble fingers, learning the value of repair and resourcefulness. His mind absorbed every lesson, a thirsty sponge soaking up knowledge. From a young age, Carl showed an aptitude that set him apart. He was quick to understand, grasping concepts with an intuitive ease. He was eager to work hard, never shying from a task, no matter how daunting. He possessed a natural curiosity, his bright eyes constantly seeking to learn and explore. He asked many thoughtful questions, his inquiries often revealing a depth of understanding beyond his years. His character began to blossom, sturdy and true, like a well-tended oak. He was industrious, never idle, always finding something useful to do. He took pride in his accomplishments, his small chest swelling with satisfaction at a job well done. He was self-sufficient, relying on his own strength and ingenuity to overcome challenges. He was deeply responsible, understanding the weight of his duties to his family and his home. He cared for his parents with a quiet devotion, his actions speaking louder than words. He tended to their needs, anticipating their desires before they even voiced them. He helped them without complaint, his willingness a constant source of comfort to them. He understood the value of community, the interwoven threads that bound people together. He believed in fairness for all, his innate sense of justice guiding his interactions. He learned to work with wood, the grain yielding to his patient efforts. He shaped sturdy handles for tools, ensuring a firm grip. He carved intricate designs into planks, adding beauty to functionality. He built strong, lasting structures, from a new chicken coop to a sturdy fence. His creations were both practical and beautiful, a testament to his skill and artistry. He mastered the art of metalworking, the forge becoming a second home. If he taught him how to forge iron, the raw metal transforming under his hammer. He hammered glowing metal into shape, the sparks flying like tiny stars in the dim light of the forge. He crafted durable farming implements, each one perfectly balanced and strong. His forge echoed with rhythmic sounds, the clang of hammer on anvil, a symphony of creation. He understood the season's rhythms with an innate wisdom. He knew when to prune the fruit trees, ensuring a bountiful harvest. He recognized the signs of coming rain, the subtle shift in the wind, the scent in the air. He anticipated the chill of winter, preparing their home for the cold embrace of the snow. His knowledge was deeply practical, rooted in observation and experience. He learned to manage a household, understanding the meticulous details that kept their lives running smoothly. He understood the importance of order, of everything having its designated place. He valued efficiency in tasks, finding the simplest, most effective way to accomplish things. He ensured everything had its place, from the tools in the shed to the pots in the kitchen. His home was always well kept, a haven of calm and order. As Carl matured, his reputation grew beyond the boundaries of their small homestead. Neighbors sought his advice, valuing his clear thinking and sound judgment. They admired his diligent nature, his unwavering commitment to hard work. They appreciated his fair judgments, knowing he would always consider all sides of an issue. His wisdom belied his years, making him a respected figure in their small community. He helped those in need, extending a hand without expectation of reward. He shared his harvest generously, ensuring no one in their community went hungry. He offered his skills freely, whether it was mending a broken tool or helping to build a new roof. He built bridges between families, mediating disputes with calm reason. He fostered a sense of unity, believing that a strong community was built on mutual support. His parents watched him with quiet joy, their hearts overflowing with pride. Carl embodied their hopes, a living testament to their values and teachings. He carried their traditions forward, a sturdy link in the chain of their lineage. He honored their simple way of life, finding profound meaning in honest work and quiet contentment. He was a true son of the soil, deeply connected to the land and its rhythms. One crisp autumn day, a young woman visited their farm, her presence a breath of fresh air. Her name was Snur, meaning daughter-in-law, a name that hinted at a future connection. She hailed from a neighboring valley, a journey that spoke of her determination. She was known for her kind heart, a gentle spirit that radiated warmth. She possessed a quiet strength, a resilience that hinted at hidden depths. Snur had heard tales of Carl, his reputation as a skilled and honorable man. His reputation had traveled far, carried on the winds of shared stories and admiration. She sought his guidance on a matter of grave importance to her family. Her family's well had run dry, a devastating blow to their livelihood. They needed help digging a new one, a task that required both strength and knowledge. Carl greeted her warmly, his gaze open and honest. He listened to her plight patiently, his expression one of deep empathy. He offered his assistance immediately, his decision made without hesitation. He gathered his tools with purpose, his movements efficient and determined. Snur watched him with a quiet admiration, impressed by his readiness to help. Together they walked to her farm, the journey long but surprisingly pleasant. The path wound through fields still smelling of harvest and through groves of ancient trees. They spoke of many things, their conversation flowing easily like a clear stream. Carl shared his knowledge of the land, pointing out edible plants and signs of good water. Snur spoke of her family's struggles, her voice tinged with worry, but also hope. Upon arrival, he assessed the dry well, its cracked basin a stark symbol of their need. He studied the surrounding terrain, feeling the subtle shifts in the earth beneath his boots. He felt the earth with his hands, a deep connection to the soil. He consulted the old signs, the wisdom passed down through generations, observing the types of plants growing nearby, the direction of the water flow in the distant stream. He found a promising spot nearby, a place where the earth seemed to hum with a hidden promise of water. For days, Carl worked tirelessly, his muscles aching, but his spirit undaunted. He dug deep into the earth, the rhythmic sound of his spade against the soil echoing through the valley. Snurr and her family helped, their hands calloused, but their spirits high. They hauled away the loose soil, creating a growing mound beside the new well. They shared meals and stories, their laughter mingling with the sounds of their labor, forging bonds of camaraderie. Finally, water began to seep from the earth, a faint shimmer in the freshly dug hole. A trickle, then a steady flow growing stronger with each passing moment. The well filled with clear, fresh water, reflecting the sky above. Snurr's family rejoiced loudly, their cheers echoing through the valley, their faces alight with relief. Their gratitude overflowed, expressed in heartfelt thanks and warm smiles. During those days of shared labor, Carl and Snurr grew undeniably close. They admired each other's qualities, seeing beyond the surface to the true heart of each other. Carl saw Snurr's resilience, her quiet determination in the face of adversity. Snurr recognized Carl's integrity, his unwavering honesty and kindness. A quiet affection, like a gentle spring bloom, blossomed between them, unspoken but deeply felt. They spoke of their dreams in the quiet evenings under the vast canopy of stars. Carl envisioned a thriving farm, a place of abundance and peace. Snurr dreamed of a strong family, a home filled with love and laughter. Their visions aligned perfectly, two streams flowing towards a common sea. A silent understanding passed between them, a recognition of a shared future. After the well was complete, its waters flowing freely, Carl returned home. But his thoughts lingered on Snurr, her gentle smile, her steady gaze, the strength in her quiet demeanor. He knew he had found his mate, the companion he had unknowingly sought. His heart felt a new lightness, a hopeful buoyancy that filled him with a quiet joy. He spoke to Afi and Amma, sharing his feelings for Snurr, his voice filled with a newfound tenderness. They listened with knowing smiles, their eyes twinkling with understanding. They had seen the change in him, the way his spirit had brightened. They gave their blessing wholeheartedly, their happiness for him evident in their warm embraces. Carl returned to Snurr's farm, his heart filled with purpose. He spoke of his intentions, his voice clear and earnest, laying bare his feelings. He asked for her hand in marriage, a proposal rooted in respect and deep affection. Snurr's eyes sparkled with joy, tears welling as a radiant smile lit her face. She accepted his proposal gladly, her own heart overflowing. A wedding was soon arranged, a simple, heartfelt ceremony held under the open sky. It was a celebration of love and community, without elaborate fanfare. Neighbors and friends gathered from near and far, their laughter and chatter filling the air. They celebrated with food and song, the music of flutes and drums mingling with joyous voices. The air was filled with cheer, a shared happiness for the newly united couple. Karl and Snur established their own farm, selecting a fertile plot of land. It was near Afi and Amma's home, ensuring close family ties. They built a sturdy house with their own hands, the timber smelling of fresh pine. They cleared new fields for planting, their combined strength transforming the wild land into productive ground. Their life together began, built on a foundation of love and hard work. Their farm flourished under their care, a testament to their dedication. Karl worked the land with passion, his connection to the earth profound. Snur managed the household expertly, her efficiency bringing order and comfort. They complemented each other perfectly, their strengths blending to create a harmonious whole. Their love grew stronger each day, deepening with every shared challenge and triumph. They raised a family together, their children a blessing upon their home. Their children were strong and healthy, their laughter echoing through the fields. They inherited Karl's diligence, his tireless work ethic. They possessed Snur's gentle spirit, her kindness and compassion. They learned the ways of the land, their childhoods filled with the wisdom of their parents. Karl taught his sons to farm, instilling in them a deep respect for the earth. He showed them how to build, teaching them the practical skills of carpentry and construction. He instilled in them a love for work, the satisfaction of honest labor. He taught them fairness and honesty, principles that guided their lives. He led by his own example, a living embodiment of the values he cherished. Snur taught her daughters the crafts of the home, passing down generations of practical wisdom. She showed them how to weave, creating beautiful textiles from raw wool. She taught them to care for the home, creating a warm and welcoming space. She instilled kindness and compassion, fostering empathy in their hearts. She shared her wisdom freely, guiding them with a gentle hand. Their family grew large and prosperous, their fields yielding abundant harvests. Their reputation spread far and wide, tales of their industry and generosity. They were known for their generosity, always willing to help those in need. They were respected for their hard work, their dedication a shining example. Their legacy began to take root, a foundation for generations to come. Karl's descendants inherited his spirit, a blend of diligence, integrity, and self-reliance. They were the backbone of society, the quiet strength that sustained their communities. They were the free farmers and craftsmen, the independent producers. They were the yeomen of Midgard, the backbone of a thriving society. They built the communities, one sturdy home and productive field at a time. They cleared the forests for fields, transforming wild, untamed land into fertile ground. They harnessed the rivers for power. The winding path continued upward. Rigger felt the air grow crisper. He sensed a change in the land's rhythm. Here, the wildness seemed tempered, guided by a stronger hand. Soon, a distant shimmer caught his eye. It was not the glint of a stream, nor the sheen of distant ice. This was the gleam of polished wood and well-tended stone, reflecting the sun. As he drew nearer, the shimmer resolved into a grand structure. It stood upon a low, rolling hill, a hall of immense proportions. Its timber walls were dark with age, yet gleamed with care. Intricate carvings adorned the eaves and doorposts. They depicted beasts of myth and heroes of old. Tapestries, rich with woven scenes, fluttered gently from open windows. A low hum of activity emanated from within. It was not the boisterous clamor of farmers, nor the quiet industry of craftsmen. This was a sound of purpose, of ordered living. Rigor approached the tall, imposing gates. They were fashioned from mighty oak, bound with bands of iron. 2 figures stood guard, their spears held at rest. They were men of impressive stature. Their tunics were of fine weave, their cloaks clasped with silver brooches. They carried themselves with an air of quiet authority. One guard stepped forward. His gaze was keen, assessing, yet not unwelcoming. "Greetings, traveler," he said, his voice deep and measured. "What brings you to the hall of Jarl?" Rigor met his gaze. "I am a wanderer," he replied, his voice soft, yet resonating with an unseen power. "I seek shelter and wisdom, as is the custom of travelers." The guard nodded slowly. "Our hall is open to those of good heart," he declared. "Enter, then. Our chieftain, Jarl, and his lady, Erna, are known for their hospitality." The great gates swung inward, revealing a courtyard. It was bustling with activity, yet everything seemed to have its place. Young men trained with wooden swords. Women moved with grace, carrying baskets of provisions. A stable stood to one side, its stalls filled with strong, well-groomed horses. Smoke curled lazily from the vents of several smaller buildings, perhaps a smithy, a bakery. Rigor followed the guard toward the main hall. Its entrance was a marvel of craftsmanship. The heavy oak door was carved with a sprawling tree, its branches reaching skyward. Inside, the air was warm and filled with the scent of hearth smoke and roasted meat. Sunlight streamed through high windows, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the air. The hall was vast, its ceiling supported by massive timber beams. A great fire pit glowed in the center, its flames licking at logs. Benches lined the walls, covered with furs and woven blankets. At the far end, on a raised dais, sat 2 figures. They were clearly the hall's heart. Jarl, the chieftain, was a man of imposing build. His hair was streaked with silver. His beard was neatly trimmed. His eyes, keen and intelligent, surveyed the hall with quiet command. He wore a tunic of dark wool, embroidered with intricate patterns. Beside him sat Erna, his lady. She was a woman of striking beauty. Her movements were fluid, graceful. Her gown was of a rich, deep blue, woven with threads of shimmering gold. Her hair, the color of spun moonlight, was braided with silver ribbons. Her eyes held a deep wisdom, a gentle understanding. She exuded an aura of calm strength. As Rigger entered, their gazes turned to him. There was no surprise, only a knowing acceptance. Jarl gestured with a large hand. "Welcome, stranger," he boomed, his voice echoing through the hall. "Come, warm yourself by the fire." Erna offered a soft, welcoming smile. "Our hall is open to those who seek respite," she added, her voice like the gentle murmur of a hidden spring. "Share our hearth and our bounty." Rigger approached the dais. He felt no urge to bow, nor to speak of his true nature. They seemed to sense his importance, his deep connection to the living world. A servant quickly brought him a mug of spiced mead. Another offered a platter of roasted venison and dark bread. Rigger accepted with a nod of thanks. He settled onto a bench near the fire. He observed the rhythms of the hall. Jarl and Erna moved with an effortless grace, attending to the needs of their people. They listened patiently to requests. They offered counsel with thoughtful consideration. Their decisions were made with a calm assurance, born of long experience. Later, as the evening shadows lengthened, the hall filled with more people. Retainers, warriors, and esteemed elders gathered for the evening meal. The air filled with the sounds of conversation and laughter. Jarl rose to address his people. His words were clear, concise. He spoke of the day's successes, of plans for the morrow. He acknowledged the efforts of his people. Erna, too, spoke. Her voice was softer, yet carried equal weight. She spoke of the well-being of the children, of the care of the crops. Her words woven with warmth and encouragement. Rigger watched their interaction. He saw a partnership built on mutual respect. Their leadership was a harmonious blend of strength and compassion. After the meal, a skald, a poet-singer, took up his lyre. He sang tales of ancient heroes, of gods and goddesses. His voice filled the hall, captivating all who listened. Jarl and Erna listened with rapt attention. Their faces reflected the emotions of the tales. They clearly valued the preservation of lore, the wisdom of the past. Rigger felt a profound sense of peace in this hall. It was a place of order, of knowledge, of shared purpose. It was a testament to the power of wise leadership. Over the next few days, Rigger observed their daily lives. He saw Jarl presiding over the morning council. Disputes were brought before him. He listened to both sides. His judgments were fair, swift, and tempered with mercy. He understood the complexities of human nature. He sought to bring harmony, not just impose rules. Erna, meanwhile, oversaw the household. She managed the stores of food. She ensured the comfort of all. Her presence was a calming influence. She also took a keen interest in learning. She spent hours in a quiet corner of the hall. There, she studied ancient runes. She deciphered the wisdom of forgotten ages. Rigger often saw her with scrolls spread before her. Her brow furrowed in concentration. She sought knowledge not for power, but for understanding. He also observed their strategic thinking. Jarl spent time with his warriors. He planned defensive measures. He considered the movements of neighboring tribes. His mind was sharp, always looking ahead. He understood the need for strength. Yet, he also sought peaceful solutions whenever possible. One afternoon, Rigger found Erna by the hearth. She was tracing patterns in the ash. Her expression was thoughtful. "You have seen much, traveler," she said, without looking up. "I have," Rigger replied. "Your hall is a beacon of order. Order requires effort," Erna mused. "And wisdom. How do you find balance between the needs of the many and the desires of the few?" Rigger considered her question. "Balance," he began, "is like a great tree. Its roots must be deep, holding fast to the earth. That is the law. Its branches must reach wide, offering shelter. That is compassion." Erna looked up, her eyes bright. "And the fruit?" she asked. "The fruit," Rigger said, "is prosperity and peace. But a tree needs tending. It needs the light of knowledge. It needs the water of justice." He spoke of the importance of clear laws. He spoke of the need for leaders to listen to all voices. He spoke of nurturing the skills of every person. "The strength of the hall," Rigger continued, "is not just in its walls. It is in the hearts of its people. When they feel valued, when they feel safe, then their loyalty is unbreakable." Erna nodded slowly. "We strive for that," she said, "to foster a sense of belonging, to encourage learning, to protect our own." Later, Rigger spoke with Jarl. They discussed tactics, not of war, but of governance. Rigger shared insights gleaned from his vast journeys. He spoke of the pitfalls of unchecked power. He spoke of the dangers of complacency. He spoke of the need for humility in leadership. "A true leader," Rigger said, "does not rule by fear. He rules by respect. He earns the trust of his people. He walks among them, not above them." Jarl listened intently. His gaze was steady. He absorbed Rigger's words, turning them over in his mind. "Your wisdom is profound, traveler," Jarl stated. "It feels ancient, yet ever new." Rigger simply smiled. He knew his time in this hall was drawing to a close. He had observed. He had shared. Now, it was time for his final blessing. On the morning of his departure, Jarl and Erna stood at the great hall's entrance. Their retainers gathered behind them. The courtyard was quiet, respectful. Rigger stood before them, feeling the weight of their gaze. "Jarl, chieftain of this noble hall," he began, his voice resonating with unseen power. "And Erna, lady of wisdom and grace, you have built a place of order and strength. You have nurtured your people with care. You have valued knowledge and justice." He raised his hands, palms outward. A soft, golden light seemed to emanate from him. It swirled gently, encircling Jarl and Erna. "May your lineage be blessed with wisdom," Rigger intoned. His voice grew deeper, like the rumble of distant thunder. "May your descendants always seek knowledge. May they rule with justice and compassion. May your hall stand strong against all storms. May your people prosper under your guidance. May the light of your wisdom shine brightly for generations to come. The golden light intensified for a moment. It seemed to settle upon Jarl and Erna, infusing them with a renewed vitality. They stood bathed in its glow, their expressions reverent. A profound sense of peace filled the courtyard. The retainers watched in awe. They felt the power of the blessing, the ancient force that flowed from Rigger. When the light faded, Jarl and Erna looked at Rigger with deep gratitude. Their eyes held a new understanding, a recognition of his true nature. "We are honored beyond measure, traveler," Jarl said, his voice husky with emotion. "Your blessing will guide us," Erna added, her voice soft. "Your wisdom will be cherished." Rigger nodded. He turned and walked toward the great gates. The guards stood aside, their heads bowed in respect. He did not look back. The path stretched before him. He felt the warmth of the sun on his face. The air, though still crisp, carried a new scent, the scent of the deep, untouched wilderness. His journey was nearing its end. He had seen the beginnings of human society. He had seen the shaping of different ways of life. Now only one more encounter awaited him. The last, and perhaps the most profound. He walked on, his steps light, his purpose clear. The memory of Jarl and Erna's noble hall, a testament to wisdom and leadership, lingered behind him. A quiet hum of order in the vast world. A quiet joy settled upon the homestead. Erna's heart held a secret, a tender blossom. She felt a newness within her, a gentle stirring of life. Jarl, her beloved husband, noticed the subtle change. His eyes, usually so bright, softened with understanding, their days filled with a quiet anticipation. Erna moved with a newfound grace, her steps lighter. Jarl watched her, his devotion deepening with each passing moment. He knew the gods had blessed them once more. This child, he felt, was destined for greatness. The spring turned to summer, then faded into autumn. Erna's belly grew, a testament to the life within. She spoke to the unborn child, whispering tales of the world. Jarl would sit beside her, his hand resting gently on her swelling form. They shared dreams for their future, for the child to come. Winter arrived, blanketing the land in snow. The world outside grew still and hushed. Inside their warm home, a new life prepared to emerge. The air was thick with expectation, with a sweet, profound sense of destiny. This was not just a birth, it was a promise. The birthing day dawned cold and crisp. The sun cast long, pale shadows across the snow. Erna labored with quiet strength, her breath coming in soft gasps. Jarl remained by her side, a steady presence. His hand held hers, offering silent encouragement. Hours passed, marked only by the shifting light. The tension in the room was palpable, yet tinged with hope. Then, a cry, a small, strong sound filled the air. It was the sound of new life, a sound of pure wonder. Erna, the weary, smiled. Their son was born. He was fair-skinned, like the fresh snow outside. His eyes, when they opened, were a startling blue, bright and clear, full of ancient wisdom. A noble aura seemed to surround him, even in his infancy. He was a child of light. They named him Jarl, echoing his father's name. It was a name that meant nobleman or chief. It was a fitting name, a prophecy perhaps. This new Jarl, they knew, was special. He was destined for a different path. Young Jarl grew quickly. He was a curious child, always observing. His gaze was steady, thoughtful, even as a babe. He rarely cried, preferring to watch the world unfold around him. His parents marveled at his calm demeanor. As he began to walk, his steps were sure and deliberate. He explored their home, his small hands touching everything. He loved to listen to his father's stories. Jarl the Elder would tell him tales of the gods, of heroes, and of the wide, wild world. From a young age, Jarl showed an innate understanding. He grasped concepts quickly, sometimes before they were fully explained. His mind was keen, always seeking knowledge. He absorbed everything like a thirsty plant. His father began to teach him early. Jarl learned the rhythms of the land. He learned the names of the trees, the calls of the birds. He learned to track, to hunt, to live in harmony with nature. These were the first lessons of leadership. He also learned the art of statesmanship. His father, a wise and respected man, showed him how to listen. He taught him to consider all sides of an issue. He learned to speak with clarity, with conviction. These were lessons in diplomacy. Jarl learned the lore of his people. He listened to the sagas, the ancient poems. He memorized the lineage of kings, the wisdom of the elders. He understood that history held important lessons. It was a guide for the future. He was taught the art of warfare, not for aggression, but for protection. His father showed him how to wield a sword, a shield. He learned strategy, discipline, and courage. He understood that true strength lay in defending the weak. Rune lore fascinated him. He spent hours tracing the ancient symbols. He learned their meanings, their power. He understood that words held magic, that knowledge was a weapon. He became a student of the mysteries. He also had a deep love for poetry. The rhythm of words, the beauty of verse, captivated him. He learned to craft his own poems. He understood that art could inspire, could unite. It was another form of leadership. Jarl grew into a young man of remarkable character. He was wise beyond his years, his judgment sound. His sense of justice was unwavering. He treated everyone with respect, regardless of their station. He was fair-minded. He was courageous, not reckless. He faced challenges with a calm resolve. He inspired confidence in others. People naturally gravitated towards him, seeking his counsel. He was a natural leader. His eloquence was legendary. When he spoke, people listened. His words were clear, persuasive, and always thoughtful. He could sway hearts and minds with his voice alone. He was a master orator. Jarl possessed a unique gift. He commanded respect without demanding it. People willingly followed his lead. They trusted his decisions, his vision. He had an innate ability to unite people. He became a renowned resolver of disputes. When conflicts arose, people brought them to Jarl. He listened patiently, weighed the facts carefully. His solutions were always equitable, always just. He led his people in times of peace and in times of challenge. When neighboring tribes threatened, Jarl led the defense. He fought bravely, strategically. He protected his homeland with fierce devotion. He understood the importance of preserving the past. He ensured the sagas were recited, passed down. He ensured the laws were upheld, remembered. He was a guardian of his people's heritage. As Jarl reached manhood, his thoughts turned to his own lineage. He knew his destiny was to establish a powerful line. He sought a mate who would complement his spirit. He sought a partner for life. He traveled far, seeking wisdom and knowledge. He visited distant lands, met different peoples. He learned their customs, their ways. He broadened his understanding of the world. In his travels, he met Einir. Her name meant one of a kind. She was as fair as the moon, as wise as the oldest oak. Her spirit was as independent as the wild wind. She was truly unique. Einir was a woman of strength and grace. She was intelligent, with a sharp wit. She shared Jarl's love for knowledge. She saw the nobility in his heart. She recognized his destiny. Their connection was immediate, profound. They spoke for hours, their minds intertwining. They shared dreams, hopes, and visions. They knew they were meant to be together. Jarl asked for her hand. Einir, seeing his true heart, agreed. Their union was celebrated with great joy. It was a joining of two powerful spirits. It was a new beginning. Together, Jarl and Einir established a mighty lineage. Their children inherited their wisdom, their courage, their leadership. They built a society founded on justice and honor. Their descendants became the ancestors of the nobles. They were the rulers, guiding their people with a steady hand. They were the judges, dispensing justice with fairness. They were the protectors, guarding their land and its people. From Jarl's line came the chieftains, the kings. They were the ones who bore the responsibility of governance. They ensured peace and prosperity. They were the guardians of order. Their lineage embodied the qualities of true nobility. They were not noble by birth alone, but by character. They were wise, just, courageous, and eloquent. They were leaders by example. They upheld the laws, ensuring fairness for all. They resolved disputes, bringing harmony to communities. They led in battle, defending their people from harm. They were the pillars of society. They preserved the ancient sagas, the wisdom of their ancestors. They ensured ensured that history was remembered. They were the keepers of the collective memory. They linked the past to the future. They were patrons of poetry and art. They understood the power of beauty. They fostered creativity, inspiring their people. They enriched the cultural life of the land. Their legacy was one of service and leadership. They were the ones who carried the weight of responsibility. They guided their people through times of plenty and times of hardship. They were true shepherds. The story of Jarl, the son of Jarl and Erna, became a foundational tale. It explained the origins of the noble class. It showed that leadership came from wisdom, from justice, from courage. It came from the heart. And so the social order was established. The thralls, strong and hardworking, built the foundations. The carls, skilled and independent, forged the communities. And the jarls, wise and just, led and protected them all. Each class played its vital role. Each was essential to the fabric of society. Together, they formed a harmonious whole. Midgard thrived under this divine design. The legacy of Rigger, the wanderer, was fulfilled. His journey had sown the seeds of civilization. His blessings had brought forth the diverse tapestry of humanity. He had shaped the world. The sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The day's journey was nearing its end. The world outside grew quiet, preparing for rest. The tales of old reminded everyone of their place. They brought comfort and understanding. They showed the divine order of things. They brought peace to the heart. Sleep began to gently call. The stories had woven their magic. They had calmed the mind, soothed the spirit. They had prepared the way for dreams. Let your thoughts drift like clouds. Let them float away, light and free. The day is done, its work complete. Now is the time for stillness. Feel the softness of your bed around you. Feel the warmth of your blankets. You are safe. You are secure. All is well in your world. Breathe in deeply, slowly. Let the air fill your lungs. Breathe out gently, completely. Release any lingering tension. Imagine a peaceful scene. A quiet meadow bathed in moonlight. A soft breeze whispers through the trees. The stars twinkle above. You are part of this peace. You are woven into its tranquility. Let your body relax, limb by limb. Let your mind become still. The stories of old will guard your sleep. The wisdom of ages will watch over you. You are held in a gentle embrace. All is calm. All is quiet. Drift now into the depths of sleep. Let your dreams be sweet and soft. Rest deeply, peacefully, until the morning light. Rigor turned from the hearth. His work was complete. A gentle mist, tinged with the scent of wood smoke and damp earth, began to swirl around him, clinging to his simple tunic. The comforting warmth of the peasant home, with its rough-hewn timbers and glowing embers, faded not just from his skin, but from his very memory, becoming a distant, pleasant echo. He felt a familiar pull, a profound, undeniable summons from distant realms, a call that resonated deep within his very being. A cosmic chord struck across the 9 worlds. His form shimmered, not with urgency, but with a serene power. He grew taller, his frame expanding, stretching towards the low ceiling as if drawn by an unseen thread. His skin, which had been weathered and tanned by the sun of Midgard, began to glow faintly, an inner luminescence that pushed back the encroaching shadows of the humble dwelling. The humble clothes, woven from coarse wool and dyed with natural pigments, dissolved away like morning mist, not tearing, but simply ceasing to exist. In their place, a gleaming armor emerged, piece by piece, each plate forming with a soft, resonant hum, a symphony of divine craftsmanship. First, the polished breastplate, then the intricate greaves and vambraces, each joint articulating with a whisper of power. Heimdall the Watcher stood once more, resplendent and unburdened by his earthly guise. His horn, Gijallarhorn, appeared at his side, suspended as if by an invisible thread, its golden gleam offering quiet reassurance, a steady pulse of ancient magic. He felt the familiar, comforting weight of its presence, a deep connection to his sacred duty. The air around him thinned, growing colder with each upward surge, taking on the crisp, clean scent of the upper atmosphere. Midgard's green fields, a patchwork quilt of cultivation and wildness, receded below with astonishing speed. He rose higher, effortlessly, into the twilight, the last blush of sunset painting the horizon in hues of rose and violet. Stars, like scattered diamonds, began to prick the darkening sky, each one a distant, silent eye watching his ascent. Bifrost's shimmering arc beckoned to him, a celestial bridge woven from light and ancient magic. Its vibrant colors pulsed with power, a living artery connecting the realms, its hum a faint, welcoming song in the stillness of the void. He soared towards it, a silent sentinel, his gaze fixed on the glorious path ahead. Home awaited him, his eternal vigil would resume, a comforting return to his true purpose. Journey was swift, a blur of motion, a sensation of pure, untrammeled flight. He passed through wisps of indigo clouds, then into the open, star-dusted space between worlds. The rainbow bridge materialized ahead, not suddenly, but gradually, its immense, ancient stones shimmering with an inner light, humming with an energy that vibrated through the very ether. He landed softly upon its surface, the impact barely a whisper, yet the bridge felt solid beneath his feet, a reassuring anchor in the vastness. He walked its length, a silent, measured tread, the familiar vibrations resonating within him. A deep chord struck in harmony with the cosmos. The air here was thin and sweet, smelling faintly of ozone and distant starlight. At its end, his post awaited, the towering gate of Asgard, forged from the purest gold and inscribed with runes of power, stood sentinel. Its vastness was humbling, its presence ancient and unyielding. He took his place, a timeless guardian, his armored form a stark silhouette against the cosmic backdrop. His gaze, keen and all-encompassing, swept over the distant realms, each a distinct jewel in the vast tapestry of creation. Midgard lay spread out below him, a living, breathing tapestry of greens and browns, now bathed in the soft glow of the rising moon. He saw the winding rivers, glinting like silver ribbons in the pale light, tracing paths through ancient lands. The forest stretched, dark and ancient, mysterious shadows holding untold secrets. He watched for a long, quiet moment, a profound sense of peace settling over him. The world seemed to breathe beneath him, a gentle exhalation. His task had been well accomplished. The sun had dipped below the horizon entirely now, leaving behind only the faintest memory of its warmth. Long shadows stretched across the land, swallowing hills and valleys. The sky painted itself in fiery hues, the last embers of day, purples bleeding into oranges, then softening to deep indigos and velvety blacks. A few early stars began to shimmer, like tiny, distant campfires. Heimdall thought of the thralls, their faces etched with the honest lines of toil, their hands calloused and strong, forever shaping the earth. He saw them in his mind's eye, bent over the soil, their movements rhythmic and purposeful. They dug the earth, they built the homes, their muscles straining, their brows beaded with sweat. Their quiet grunts and the rhythmic thud of their hoes formed a silent symphony of effort. They were the bedrock of society, the unseen foundation upon which all else rested. Their labor provided essential needs, the raw materials of civilization. They toiled without complaint, mostly, their spirits surprisingly resilient. Their lives were simple, yet vital, imbued with a quiet dignity he had come to admire. He remembered the old man's wisdom, the thrall who had shared his meager meal and spoken of the earth's bounty. The thrall's quiet dignity, a testament to endurance. Their strength sustained the world, a silent, unyielding force. They carried the burden, unyielding, their shoulders broad, their resolve unbroken. He saw the yeomen bustling in their fields, their voices raised in song or hearty greetings. Their fields stretched out, green and golden under the moon, promising bounty. They harvested the grain, they tended the flocks, their hands skillful, their movements efficient. Their lives revolved around the seasons, a natural rhythm connecting them intimately to the land. The scent of freshly turned earth and ripening crops seemed to waft up to him, even at this distance. They were the heart of Midgard, the vibrant, beating center. Their industry fed the people, providing sustenance and comfort. They crafted the tools, they traded the goods, their ingenuity transforming raw materials into objects of use and beauty. Their hands brought forth abundance, their minds ever seeking new ways to improve, to grow. He recalled the young farmer's pride, his face alight with joy in the growing crops, the first green shoots pushing through the soil. The yeomen embodied careful stewardship, their connection to the land deep and reverent. They nurtured the land, they fostered growth, understanding that their future depended on the health of the earth. And the jarls in their great halls, their voices echoing with command and debate, the scent of mead and wood smoke clinging to their beards. They judged the disputes, they led the hunts, their decisions shaping the lives of their people. Their wisdom guided the people, their foresight protecting them from unseen dangers. The clang of steel, the murmur of counsel, the roar of laughter, all these sounds, though muted by distance, reached his perceptive ears. They were the mind of the realm, the strategic core. Their foresight protected the land, their vigilance a shield against chaos. They upheld the laws, they brokered peace, their authority bringing order to a world that could easily descend into strife. He pictured the Jarl's steady gaze, his thoughtful, discerning words weighing options, making difficult choices. The Jarls represented leadership, the guiding hand. They ensured justice, they maintained balance, their presence a bulwark against anarchy. Each class had its distinct role, each a necessary and indispensable thread. Like threads in a grand tapestry, shimmering with countless hues, each color contributed to the whole, creating a rich and intricate design. Without the thralls, the foundation would crumble, the very earth itself refusing to yield its bounty. No strong hands to build, no enduring backs to bear burdens. The very ground would feel unstable, shifting beneath the weight of progress. Without the yeoman, hunger would stalk the land, a gaunt specter. No food to sustain life, no craft to create tools. The people would wander aimless, their strength fading, their hope dimming. Without the Jarls, chaos would reign supreme, a wild, untamed beast. No laws to guide behavior, no justice to settle disputes. The realm would descend into anarchy, a cacophony of discord and suffering. Heimdall observed it all, his gaze sweeping over the vast panorama of human life. He saw the intricate connections, the delicate interplay of labor and leadership. The way each group relied on the others, a delicate, vital interdependence, a dance of necessity. He had woven this pattern not with force, but with subtle guidance, with the gentle nudge of destiny. He had set the order in motion, a quiet revolution. His secret journey had borne fruit, a harvest of harmony. Midgard now found its true rhythm, a steady, comforting beat. The sun had fully set now, the last vestiges of daylight having surrendered to the night. The moon, a silver sliver, rose higher in the sky, casting a gentle, ethereal light that bathed the landscape in shades of gray and silver. A peaceful hush fell over the world, broken only by the faint murmur of the wind through the stars. Heimdall felt a quiet pride, not a boastful, loud emotion that sought recognition, but a deep, resonant satisfaction, a profound inner peace, a knowledge of work well done, a legacy forged in silence. He was the watcher, ever vigilant, his senses stretched across the cosmos, hearing the grass grow, the wool on sheep. His duty was to protect, his essence was to maintain order. He had done so, in a unique way, by becoming a part of the very fabric he sought to mend. He had walked among humankind, a shadow among shadows. He had seen their struggles, felt their pain, shared their simple joys. He had understood their needs, not just intellectually, but with the empathy born of shared experience. He had shaped their destiny subtly, like a master weaver, adjusting a single thread. No one on Midgard knew his hand. No one would ever suspect the true architect of their newfound order. His influence was a hidden current, flowing beneath the surface of life, guiding, nurturing, strengthening. This hidden work was his strength, for it allowed true harmony to form, not forced by divine fiat, but organically grown from within the people themselves. A natural, evolving system, resilient and adaptable. He remembered the thrill of the journey, the novelty of human life, so fragile yet so enduring. The simple joys, the complex sorrows, he had learned much himself, insights that deepened his understanding of the realms he guarded. He had experienced hunger and thirst, the gnawing emptiness, the parched throat. He had felt weariness in his bones, the ache of physical exertion. He had known the warmth of a hearth, the comforting glow of shared humanity. He had shared simple stories, tales of courage and kindness, moments of connection that transcended his divine nature. These experiences enriched his watch. They gave depth to his understanding. He saw Midgard with new eyes, not just a realm to be guarded, but a living entity, vibrant and complex. The stars above began to twinkle with greater brilliance, each one a distant, silent beacon, a pinprick of eternity. They mirrored the order he had created, a vast, celestial harmony, each star in its appointed place, following its ancient path. He lifted Gijallarhorn slightly, his hand brushing its cool, polished surface. Its golden surface caught the starlight, reflecting it back as a promise. He did not sound it now, for its purpose was for times of peril, for the call to arms against chaos. But its presence was a comfort, a tangible link to his power, a reminder of his solemn vow to guard Asgard and all its realms with unwavering vigilance. Midgard slept below him now, a blanket of darkness, dotted with the warm, inviting lights of distant hearths. Small beacons of human life, burning steadily against the vast night. He knew that challenges would come, for life was never truly static, always evolving, always presenting new trials. But the foundations were strong now, laid with care and understanding. They would endure the coming ages, weathering storms and darkness. The thralls would continue their labor, their strength upholding the world. Their hands would shape the raw earth. Their spirit would remain resilient, a testament to endurance. The yeomen would tend their fields, their industry feeding the people. Their ingenuity would craft tools. Their hearts would nurture the land, ensuring its bounty. The Jarls would guide their communities, their wisdom bringing justice. Their leadership would maintain peace, their vision protecting the future, securing the realm for generations to come. This balance was a precious thing, a delicate dance of roles, each step contributing to the grand rhythm, each movement essential to the whole, a seamless, interconnected system. Heimdall felt the quiet hum of Bifrost beneath his feet, the endless flow of time, a river of existence. His vigil was eternal, unbroken. He was the bridge between worlds, the connection between the divine and the mortal. He was the guardian of the gate, the watcher, ever keen. His senses stretched across the cosmos, hearing the grass grow, the wool on sheep, the very whisper of a thought across realms. And he heard the steady heartbeat of Midgard, the rhythm of its newly ordered life. A symphony of human endeavor, a testament to his quiet work, his hidden triumph. He stood sentinel, unmoving, his gaze fixed on the distant world, a silent, unwavering protector. The stars wheeled slowly overhead, marking the passage of time. Another night had begun, pregnant with possibility. His duty was his purpose. His purpose was his peace. He had brought order to chaos. He had woven harmony from discord, a masterpiece of subtle intervention. Midgard would thrive, he knew. Its people would flourish. They would build, they would grow, they would learn, their potential now truly unleashed. All thanks to a hidden hand, a whispered intervention. The thought brought a gentle smile, a rare, subtle expression that touched his lips, then vanished, leaving only the serene calm of his eternal vigil. He returned to his silent watch, his gaze fixed on the sleeping world. The foundations were laid, the order was set, and Heimdall, the Watcher, stood guard. His silent pride, his secret legacy, a testament to his profound understanding of humanity. The realm below him slept soundly, a testament to his work, a world in balance, at peace, a harmony born of his journey, a quiet revolution. He looked towards the distant stars, countless and shimmering, eternal and vast, just like the order he had created, a lasting, enduring foundation for the ages. His watch continued, unwavering, the sentinel of the realms. His secret, a whisper on the wind, his work, a quiet triumph. He felt the cold, clear air, the vastness of the cosmos stretching infinitely around him. He was a part of it all, a vital thread in the grand design, eternally connected. And as the night deepened, Heimdall watched, his eyes ever vigilant, his heart filled with quiet satisfaction, a profound sense of accomplishment. Midgard was safe, and in order, a world reborn. Sleep, dear friend, and rest now, for the world below is balanced. Each part plays its rightful role, a harmony softly settled. The stars above are watching too, just like the silent guardian. They shine upon a peaceful realm, a world now truly at ease. Drift deeper into slumber, letting the quiet rhythm of the ordered world guide you. The world is in its proper place. All is well and all is calm. Let dreams unfold around you, soft and gentle, like the night. The stories of old are finished. Their echoes fade into the quiet, replaced by new, hopeful tales. Rest now, deeply and truly. The Watcher keeps his vigil. The world is safe, the stars bright. Sleep and dream until the dawn. If these whispers brought you rest, you're welcome to subscribe for more calm tales. A gentle, like also guides fellow night owls here.